I had enough, so we sold it all and moved to Florida. Here's why. I felt stuck where I was living and I knew I had to make a big change. I felt like I had to completely close this chapter in my life and start a new one. If you feel stuck now too, then this is for you. First, if you're new to my channel, I'm Grant Warrington and I retired early thanks to real estate investing. And now I get to live where I'm happy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can explore paradise with me. Let's jump in. The first thing I did was I decided to leave, and the desire to go outweighed the fear of leaving. I lived in Trenton, Michigan my whole life. I was born there, went to high school there. All my friends and family were there, but I just started to feel like something was missing. I accomplished a lot, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to live somewhere with palm trees, blue skies, and sunshine all day? So something started to change inside me, and I realized I didn't want to have a birth certificate saying Trenton, Michigan, and a death certificate saying the same thing. I needed to get out because I'd really never explored life anywhere else. So what do we do? Where are we going to move to? So we just kicked around some states like anybody would: California, Texas, and Florida. But California, the flight was way too long. Same thing with Texas. So we had to rule those out quickly because we have apartment buildings back in Michigan, and that's where all our family is. So we thought if we need to jump on a plane, we got to be able to get to Detroit quickly. So Florida was the easy option, but I didn't really know a lot about it. I never went there when I was a kid with my family. We never vacationed there. So we both were like, well, what city should we move to? So I happen to have a buddy in Florida, and I called him and I said, hey man, we're thinking of moving to Florida. Where do you recommend? And he said,
I live in St. Pete. It's beautiful. You should move here.
And I said, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll move there. And that's how it happened. But my wife, being the smarter one of the two of us, said,
you know what? Before we go tell everyone that we're moving there, maybe we should go visit.
Brilliant idea. So we decided we're going to go visit twice. Once we wanted to go down in summer, in August, the hottest part of the year, because we wanted to experience what it was like. Is it really that hot? Is it unbearable down there? We had no idea. So we booked a ticket and went down. Turns out, yeah, it's hot. But I'd rather be in a hot environment than a freezing ass cold one like we went through every winter in Michigan. So after we got home from that trip, I posted all over social media, we are moving to Florida in 9 months, because I wanted that accountability. I wanted to tell people that, and now I'm on the hook to do it and to make it happen in 9 months. I didn't want to just say, yeah, we're moving to Florida at some certain time. We put a date on it so that I'd feel like an ass if I missed that date, because I told everybody, all of you, we're moving. So I needed to make it happen. Now, the second time we went down was in February, and that was a few months before we moved, but we had decided we wanted to rent an apartment. We didn't want to buy a house. And here's the main reason. We didn't know anything about St. Pete. So I didn't know the neighborhoods. I didn't know what was a bad area, what was a good area. We had really no idea of all this. So we figured we'd rent for a year downtown, and that'll give us enough time to explore the area. So one of the great things we love about downtown St. Pete is the walkability and the public transportation. So we'd always been a 2-car family because in Michigan, you have to drive everywhere, but not down here. So we sold one of our cars and we can walk everywhere now. And we love that about St. Pete. We'd walk out of the front entrance of our apartment building. There's fine dining, regular restaurants, coffee shops, museums, and retail, all within a few blocks. So the second thing we did was we set a budget. And let me be honest with you here. My wife set the budget. She's the ace at all this. And if it wasn't for her, we'd probably still be sitting in Michigan trying to plan this trip. So thank you, Monica. Now, we had no idea how much a trip like this is going to cost. That's why we put that number in place, so we had something to shoot for, and we knew if we were getting too close to it, we were getting a little off track. So our goal was to sell all of our items, and we're going to use that money to pay for the trip and to buy some new furniture in the new apartment building. You got to think, we're going from a 1,300 square foot home with a basement and a garage to an 1,100 square foot apartment building with no storage whatsoever. So we had to get rid of a lot of stuff, which means we made a lot of money off the sale. But we didn't want to cut corners, okay? We knew we wanted to hire professional movers. We were gonna box everything up We were just gonna have them take all that big stuff and load it into the U-Haul for us. We also didn't want to bring all our friends over and just bug the hell out of them to help us package all this crap up. We were gonna leave it to the pros, and then I'd end up driving the U-Haul down to Florida. So moving to Florida is a big undertaking, but I hope you can see now that we broke this down into little bite-sized pieces that we could manage. So the third thing we did was preparing to move. So the house size compared to the apartment size, no storage, we had to sell everything. And Facebook Marketplace was the thing we used. We sold lawn equipment, our patio furniture, my tools, and everything else you can think of leading up to the move. And I'll be honest, selling my tools and lawn equipment was pretty tough. I had this riding lawnmower, and I think my neighbors thought I was crazy because it was just a regular size city lot. But I bought this thing back in about 2011, and it was awesome. It was an orange Husqvarna, and I could let that grass get almost 2 feet high, and then I could come through, swipe it, and I'd cut it on the first pass. And I was a little lazy back then about cutting grass. But I love this thing, man. It looked sharp. And I paid $1,500 for it, brand new. And when I sold it, I made $1,000 off it. So that was fantastic because I took excellent care of it, and I still miss that lawnmower today. Now, the fourth thing we did was we sold the house. So I bought it in 1998. I was 22 years old, and I bought it for $130,000. 25 years later, we sold it for $250,000, which was great, but you would think over 25 years it would have appreciated more than that. But that was the market we lived in. It was high demand comparison to the surrounding area, but it was absolutely nothing like St. Pete, Florida. People are coming here by the thousands every year. In my old city, the population was just slowly declining. And one of the great things we did was we negotiated with the buyers of the new home to sell some of our larger items, like our dining room table, our couch, and our hutch. Now, if you don't know what a hutch is, don't worry about it. I didn't either until we sold it. So we booked a U-Haul about a month or so out before we had to leave just to make sure we could get one. We rented a 15-footer for $1,610. U-Haul also sent us a list of recommended movers, so we went through, looked at the reviews, and picked a company off that list to load all of our big items into the U-Haul. So on the Michigan end, we paid the movers $260, which included a $100 tip for 2 hours worth of work. You want to know what my review is about those movers? I'll let you know in a minute. Fifth thing we did was we drove to Florida. I drove the U-Haul myself, and my wife followed along behind in our car with the rest of the luggage and our cat, who drove my wife crazy the whole way down meowing. Now, it really wasn't a bad trip at all for me. I downloaded a bunch of Joe Rogan episodes, and I just popped in my headphones and listened to those all the way down because I didn't want to be trying to find radio stations in that U-Haul for the next 20 some hours. We also decided to stop twice and spend the night because we wanted to break that trip up, and we had to make sure that we found hotels that accepted pets. The first place we stopped was Cleveland, Tennessee, and we hit the Waffle House. You know where this is going, right? That was my first visit to a Waffle House, and we had to tell the waitress, hey, this water tastes like bleach. And she said,
yeah, that's the way they clean the water down here. You guys are probably from out of town, aren't you?
ugh. The next stop was just over the state line into Florida because the apartment building had given us a designated move-in time of 11 a.m. the next morning. So we were so excited to finally get to the apartment building. We roll up the back door on the U-Haul, and guess what? Our stuff is laying all over the inside of the U-Haul. Luckily, nothing broke, so I guess it always could have been worse. We hired another U-Haul recommended moving company on this end, and I'm glad we did because they moved us from ground floor up to the 8th floor, and it was a lot of work. The company was American-made movers, and they did a phenomenal job. We paid them another $260 for another 2 hours worth of work, and that included the tip. So to break it all down to get the total cost of the move, we had 2 site visits to St. Pete with plane tickets, hotels, and food, then the moving van and movers and the 2 hotels on the way down to Florida for a total of $4,550. Not bad to move all the way across country, or down country. But don't forget, we still had to buy some furniture down there because we sold ours back in Michigan. So we ended up buying a new couch, new dining room table, and the most comfortable queen size pull-out couch you'll ever sleep on. Our all-in total was $8,550. We still had our bed and mattress and stuff like that, so we didn't have to get everything. And that's not bad to start a complete new life in another state. So here's the absolute best part for me, and this is how I knew I was home. When we were done with the move, we had to return the U-Haul. So I'm thinking, all right, crap, I'm tired, we're hungry. We're gonna have to drive hours now to drop off this damn U-Haul truck. And I asked my wife, well, where's the closest U-Haul? And she said, it's 2 blocks that way, you can see it. I thought, holy crap. We drove 2 blocks, dropped it off, and then we walked 1 block and went to dinner. It was incredible. I told you that walkability was a big deal for us. And right off the bat, to be able to do that, I was in heaven. The point of all this was I realized I don't have to stay stuck where I'm at. All it takes is that desire to change burning in your chest and a plan. And I know you can do it too. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. That lets YouTube know you thought this video was valuable and they'll share it with more people. I got another video right here I know you're gonna love. Click this video and I'll see you there.